Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
And I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be counting down our 10 favorite games that were ever published by Mayfair Games. Now, first I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, KJK, who suggested that we do a top 10 list for Mayfair Games as a farewell to them, as they are going to be going out of business. They're in the process of shutting down as they've sold off all their IPs to Asmodee. So this is our 21 gun salute. This is going to be our top 10 favorite games ever published by Mayfair Games. So I don't think we need much preamble. Let's just get going, huh?
Okay.
Number 10. So, Lynn, why don't you start us off with your number 10?
My number 10 is the Kaptain dice game. I like rolling dice. You get to roll a bunch of dice in this, and you also get to play a sort of, I don't want to say dumbed down, but like streamlined version of Kaptain, basically, with rolling lots of dice.
It's like a press your luck version of Kaptain. It's almost like Kaptain meets zombie dice. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, this is more advanced than zombie dice, but simpler than Kaptain. So it's that interesting midway point. Now, granted, Mayfair had sold off the Kaptain property a couple years ago and actually hasn't had it for a couple years, but for a long time, Kaptain and Mayfair were synonymous. So my number 10 is a Kaptain game also, and that is Star Trek Kaptain. Now, this is essentially the basic Settlers of Catan, but with one added new mechanic, which was the character cards, which I thought were really fun. And the thing is, yeah, there's a lot of hate for Catan these days because it is kind of an older game and it is showing its age at this point. But I think a lot of the hate is a little bit undeserved. I think people's lowered views of it are just because they themselves have played out on it at this point. They've played it so much. And you know what? It's still fun. I mean, yes, there's a lot of randomness, so you can't take it uber competitively or uber seriously. But it's a great... I still think Catan is a great gateway game, and the added cards plus the Star Trek theme in this made this significantly superior to the original Settlers of Catan for me. Mm-hmm. I quite liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's get on to our number 9. Number 9.
So my number 9 is Fight for Olympus. It's a 2-player sort of area control game, right?
Well, there's some area control with the 3 different areas.
Yeah.
I would almost say it like a 2-player battle card game.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting with all the mythical characters.
There's different things going on. It's hard
but
to pin it down.
You're right, though. There is area control. And I never really... Until you just said that, I never thought of this as an area control game. And then you said it, and I'm like, oh, right, there's the 3 areas. And you do need to control them. I never would have thought of this as an area control game at all. Wow.
Just blew your mind, huh?
You did. Have you been thinking of this as an area control game, like, all along?
Yeah.
You, never said anything.
I thought it was obvious, honestly.
Oh, okay. No, but this is a great game. I love Fight for Olympus. That's actually one of my favorite, just, like, small 2-player games. I love to pull that out at any time. My number 9 might be up for the award for most boring-looking game that rocked my gaming world. And that is Murano. Now, look at the cover of this box, because this box looks so boring. The artwork looks so bland. You bought this game.
It was the half-off coupon.
Yeah. A half-off coupon at Gen Con.
Yeah.
So you bought this game, and we brought it home, and I was dreading trying it. And then, because it looks so boring, but then we played it, and I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing.
You couldn't even read through the rule book. You kept falling asleep.
Yeah.
So you had me read the rule book.
But then when we played it, I was like, oh my god, I love this game. This game is so good. It claims to be about glass blowing in Venice, but that's really a minor thing. It's really much more about city building, and I love games about city building. And this is a really, really good city building game with a giant rondelle that goes around the entire board.
Yeah, the whole board is a rondelle.
Yeah, it's the entire edge of the board is a rondelle with gondolas that move around to let you do special actions. But yeah, no, and that's Murano. And this is one that actually I would love it if Asmodee did a new edition of with updated artwork and better components. Mm-hmm. I think this is one that's right for a new edition, definitely. Number 8. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is Patrician. And it's another game based in Italy. They seem to do that a lot.
Well, they for a long time have brought over a lot of Euro games. That's been a big thing for Mayfair. So
this one is you're building towers in different Italian cities and trying to have the highest tower with most of your pieces in it and get points that way.
Yeah, your points are all about the prestige of having the tour. And Patrician is this kind of, it's a style of tower that apparently was very popular in Renaissance Italy. This is another one with a fairly bland-looking box, but when we played this, the first time we played this game, years ago at the Mayfair get-together, and you and I played it, and we looked at each other, and we're like, we need to go buy this game as soon as the exhibit hall opens tomorrow, because this game is amazing. So, spoiler alert, it's probably going to be on my list higher up. Number 8 for me is one of the heaviest Mayfair games of all time.
You could kill a man with it.
You could kill 10 men with it, with one throw. It is Caverna, because there are so many wooden pieces. I remember when we bought this at a Gen Con also, and it weighed me down so much. I was getting a crick in my back. I was carrying other things too, but this was definitely the heaviest game I had, because it is just so heavy. But Caverna is a fantastic, again, like, city building, worker placement, resource management extravaganza. I mean, this is one of those games where it's like it's got like every Euro mechanism in one game, and it's great.
Yeah, it looks a lot more intimidating than it is. There's a lot going on, but you're not always.
They're not super complicated.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mechanics, but they're not super complicated mechanics. But it is a really fun game. Number 7. So what do you got for your number 7?
My number 7 is Journey to the Center of the Earth.
This is not a surprise to me at all.
I think this was on like the $5 discount rack.
They were discontinuing it, yeah. And it's not in print anymore. This one's hard to find.
And it was one of those things where I liked the book. I liked the movies. You know, they keep on making movies with more and more CG, basically.
Yeah.
and I was like, why not? It's only $5. And then it turned out to be a great game.
This, I think, is the best purchase we have ever made off a discount rack. This was, because there have been so many $5 games where we got them and we're like, oh my god, I want my $5 back. Oh god, don't even remind me of that. But this game was the most fun $5 purchase we ever had. And in fact, it's so good. I didn't even know about it. I'd never noticed it when it was at full price, but it would have been worth the full price. And I'm actually surprised they had discontinued this. Maybe this will be one that gets revived, because actually, and I mean, this is actually pretty nice production too. The board was very pretty. It was a very good looking game. So there you have it. Journey to the Center of the Earth was Lynn's number 7. Now my number 7 is one that I know is going to be higher on Lynn's list. There's no doubt in my mind. And that is World Without End, my current favorite of the Ken Follett-based board games. Now, our version here was published by Mayfair Games. This game is still in print, but is now in the U.S. being directly published by Cosmos, which Cosmos used to contract with Mayfair to reprint a lot of their stuff here, so that's why I felt comfortable putting this on the list.
Well, it's got the Mayfair shield on it. So.
And this game is... This game is another one where I was not excited about the theme, but then I played it and the mechanics are so tight, so good.
So Euro.
So Euro. So many Euro mechanics in one box. And it's just lots of fun. And it's one of those where it's like it's resource management with a dash of worker placement and hand management.
And a little rondel.
And a little rondel. And the rondel is actually really good in this game. So, yeah, this is a really good one. So that is World Without End, my number 7. Number 6. So what is your number 6?
My number 6 is Murano. So we've already talked about it. Everything that you said.
Did you have anything you wanted to add about Murano, though, or?
No, it's a fun game. I enjoy it. It's got a giant rondel.
Well, obviously, I mean, you like it better than I do, because it's even higher on your list. One thing I was going to say, and you did reference the giant rondel, you love games with rondels.
It's fun to go round and round.
You spin me right around, baby.
I was thinking more rat.
Oh, okay.
Round
Round and round? Okay. We just showed our age. My number 6, get back to my, so derailed. My number 6 is Mystery Motive for Murder, which I can never say the title of which without saying it that way because it's hilarious. And this is a tile-laying game where the entire game is based on that little cartoon intro that they used to have
from Masterpiece Mystery.
Yeah. And it's actually very thematic. You would think it's silly, but
they gave all the cartoons backstories and like weird relationships.
And then the whole thing is there's a murder and you have to play tiles to figure out who has the strongest motive for having committed the murder. And it's brilliant. I mean, this is one of my 2 favorite tile laying games of all time. This and Lanterns, and I go back and forth as to which one I like better. And but yeah, this game is great. So that is Mystery Motive for Murder. Number 5.
So my number 5 is Barren Park. It's another tile laying game, although the tiles are irregular shape.
They're like Tetris pieces.
Yeah, and you're building a bear park, and it's really fun if you're good at spatial awareness and fitting pieces in.
It's very puzzly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I agree with you. So, did you have anything else to say about it?
No.
Now, here's the thing. So, we knew there was going to be a lot of crossover on this list, but this is the first time we've had crossover at the same number, because we just said, oh, what's your next one? And I said, oh, mine's Barren Park. And Lynn goes, wait, that's my next one. Because not only do we agree that Barren Park is a great game, we actually agree exactly where it belongs on this top 10 list. And for everything Lynn said, it is wonderfully puzzly. It is, it can be very strategic and tactical with which pieces you take, either to deny your opponent from getting pieces or specifically, because, I mean, it can come down, this game is usually really close. And usually, a very common thing you hear at the end of one of this game is, oh man, if I only had one more turn. Because people were like that one turn away from completing their bear park. Because it is usually very, very close. This is, this is a phenomenal game. I really do love Barren Park. Number 4.
My number 4 is Mystery Motive for Murder.
See, you can say it without saying it that way. I can't do it. I have to say it the very dramatic way.
It's really fun placing all the tiles and then reading the sentences saying like Horace was the love child of these people and like being all dramatic.
Who was taken for a financial in a financial deal by
Right. It's just a fun game.
Yeah.
And there's like a giant first player magnifying glass. Like
obviously I agree because it was already on my list. I didn't know you liked it that much more than I do, though, that you have it very high on your list. It's number 4. So my number 4 is a game I have often touted on this channel as being my replacement for Monopoly, and that is Lords of Vegas. Now, here's the thing. When I was a kid and you didn't have a huge amount of resource management and financial type games, Monopoly was okay. Now it's very dated and it's very outdated. And this game had everything that was good about Monopoly without the large amount of things that were bad about Monopoly. So there's no roll and move in this. There's no problem with a theoretical going on forever. There's a definite end point in Lords of Vegas.
And no one gets bankrupted.
Yeah,
you get money every time.
No player elimination.
Yeah.
No player elimination.
You might not get a lot of money,
but you always get money. So this is not only a fantastic replacement for Monopoly, but just overall a fantastic game. I love Lords of Vegas. I think it's really great because you get to build the casino so it feels like a city building game, and 2, with the constant money management, it also feels like a resource management game. And it does both of those things very well. Very well. So that is my number 4, Lords of Vegas. Number 3. So here we are in the top 3 favorite games that, for us, that Mayfair had ever put out. These are the big ones.
My number 3 is Lords of Vegas. So I don't think we really need to say anything more.
Well, do you have anything to add about the mechanics or anything specifically that you like?
I think it's fun to get casinos, at least plots of land. You have to build a casino, but you get a plot of land every turn. So you always feel like even if you have a not great turn,
you get something.
You don't feel like that one turn like messed up your entire game because you always get something.
It's true, and you're never out of it. I mean, generally. Someone can get a big lead, but there's usually a chance. But yeah, no, that's a great
and then
game.
you can do stuff like try and take over their
casinos.
Oh,
yeah, the hostile takeovers are fantastic in that. So my number 3 is a game that Lynn already mentioned much earlier. There's quite a bit of crossover on our list. But my number 3 I like much better than Lynn does, and that is Fight for Olympus. Now, it was funny, you blew my mind a little bit by referring to it as an area control game. I always thought of this as being a card battle game, sort of a self-contained equivalent for me to Magic the Gathering. Now, I used to love Magic the Gathering, but I won't get into a collectible card game anymore. It's too life-absorbing and too hobby-absorbing. You spend all your time and money on that one game, and to the detriment of all other games, and I like to play lots of games. But this gives me that same sort of thrill that Magic the Gathering used to give me in a little self-contained box. There's no collecting needed. Everything's in there. There's that little bit of randomness where you pull out a certain number of random cards every turn. So you don't know, is Hercules in there? I don't know. I haven't seen him yet. I'm not sure. And I love the Greek mythological theme. I love pulling out all the major heroes. I love using them to try to fight over Olympus and Troy and
I don't think Troy's the middle one.
No, Troy's the last one. Where's it go? It goes Olympus, Delphi, and Troy. Olympus, Delphi, and Troy, I think, are the 3 areas. And each of the areas gives you a special ability if you control it. One gives you points, one gives you extra cards, and one lets you take tokens, which can be used as resources to spend to pay for cards, which normally you have to discard cards to pay for resources. So this is just a really, really well done 2-player game, and it's definitely one of my favorite little 2-player games. So there you have it. That was my number 3, Fight for Olympus. Number 2.
So my number 2 is the Starfarers of Kaptain.
So this is your favorite version of Kaptain, then?
Yes, it is. I like the spaceships. I like to roll my spaceship. I like to fight pirates when the little black ball comes out of the spaceship. I'm sad that most of our spaceships are broken, so we really can't play it anymore.
This is one I really hope gets a reprint at some point by Asmodee, because we need a new version. And I hope they reprint it
with better spaceships and not something with just dice, because I want to roll my spaceship.
You love this. I know you love it. Well, it's really cool to put the upgrades actually on the spaceship.
Well, when they don't snap off.
When they don't snap off, yes. But we've had this game for ages. This was one of the when we were just dating. Yeah. This was one of the first games that you and I got into together. And we went nuts for this game, and we played it for years. This was one of the first games I think we started inviting people for game nights for.
Yeah, we played it until it was just like, we're going to destroy this game if we continue playing.
Because it all started falling apart. Yeah. So that is Starfarers of Kaptain, Lynn's number 2. Now my number 2, Lynn has already mentioned, but obviously I like quite a bit more. Patrician. And Lynn covered it pretty well. I just wanted to add in something I like about it, in addition to building the towers, which I love building the towers, and you did talk about that quite a bit. I love the mechanic of the hand management in this. So you get a hand of cards, and the cards tell you what each one is a different color for a different city. So you play a card on your turn, and you can build a tower level in that city. And then there's a face-up card, which you can see in that city, which you take to your hand and then replace. And it's brilliant because you look at your hand and you're like, well, this city could be better for me, but that city has a card that I really want. And I love that. I love doing that. This game is amazing. This is actually one of my top 5 favorite games of all time from any company. So, we're in the top 2. So, this is games we absolutely adore. So, there you have it. My number 2 is Patrician. And now, it is time for number 1.
My number 1 is World Without End.
You know, before we even started this list, I had this picked as your number 1.
It's great. I love building the stuff. I love the little rondel. I love letting villagers die from the plague.
You never treat the plague victims.
No.
I always do. I always go for the points by treating the plague victims. You always ignore them.
I like to build the cathedral. That's my goal. I always try and finish the cathedral.
Building the tower, yes.
Yeah.
So, now, this is... I mean, you asked to play this game all the time. Is this just... This has got to be one of your favorite games.
One of my favorite games.
Yeah. So, I knew that... That's why I knew this was going to be your number 1, because you adore this game. I mean, there's hardly a game night when we're going through possible games to play that you don't go, World Without End? So, that's not a surprise to me at all. So, Lynn's number 1, which she is hugging there, World Without End, one of her favorite games of all time. So, my number 1 was already mentioned by Lynn, and actually was pretty close to where I have it on my list for Lynn, because she just had it as her number 2. Mm-hmm. And that is... Starfarers of Catan. Now, you covered this very well. I have a few things I want to add, but yeah, well, like I said before, this is one of the first games that you and I got into together years ago. Mm-hmm. And this game is just phenomenal. We bought our copy, because this goes all the way back.
It's probably like at least 20 years old.
I want to say we bought this in like 1999, maybe 2000. I'd have to look to see when this game actually came out. But it was, I think it was around that time period, because we got it way back in the day, and we loved this game. Now, you talked about, now it's got the similar sort of dice rolling for resources that you do in most Catan games, but it's a much bigger area. The Catan games are usually like a tight little packed area for your resources, whereas in this it's very expansive, and you can go voyaging out and colonizing the different worlds. And then you want to build space stations further out, so you can build your ships already further out in the galaxy. And then there's those trade contracts you can get with the different other alien races, which give you special abilities. And I mean, this is hands down my favorite version of Catan, and I really wish Asmodee would do a reprinting of this with upgraded components.
I think it's more interactive than regular Catan, because when you get the black little thing,
someone else plays the pirate.
Someone else reads the card, and then you get like a what do you do kind of. You can do A, B, or C.
Yeah,
and
encounter card.
There's not anything like that in the other.
I was gonna say it's definitely more. It's probably one of the most advanced and most involved and heaviest versions of Catan. And the scenarios, like you said, the encounter cards, where sometimes you encounter a merchant, sometimes you encounter pirates.
And it's like, do you want to give him any trade goods or whatever? And then you can choose to give him none, 1, or 2, and different things happen.
For the merchants, yeah. Oh, and with the pirates, and that's another interesting thing about this. So when a pirate shows up, you can choose to try to just drop your goods and leave, or you can fight. And that's another interesting thing. This is a Euro game that has a small amount of combat in it, which is very rare. And now it's really just a quick dice roll, but just a Euro game that has combat is a rare thing.
And it's also the more rockets or something. It does it by how many rockets you have.
Well, there's the rockets for getting away, and then the guns for fighting.
Yeah.
Because the guns give you bonuses to fighting. It's a dice roll plus your cannons.
I don't forget what they call them.
Cannons, I think. I think they were called cannons. Okay. Yeah. So but this is. Starfarers of Catan is another, along with Patrician, of my top 5 favorite games of all time. I absolutely adore Starfarers of Catan. And there was never any doubt when we were making this list that this was going to be my number 1. I immediately knew. And while I also knew that World Without End was going to be your number one, I was pretty sure Starfarers and Catan was going to be pretty high on your list. I wasn't certain it was going to be number 2, but I knew it was going to be in your top 3. It was going to be either 2 or 3. So I did have that called. Did you have this called for my number 1? Did you have Starfarers called for my number 1?
No, I thought Patrician was going to be your number 1.
Well, that is, you know what? That's not a bad guess because it's close for me. Patrician and Starfarers are both just games I adore. And those are both games. I mean, yeah, I don't ask to play Starfarers much anymore only because the components are all broken. But I would still be playing it if it wasn't for the fact that most of our set is busted at this point, unfortunately. So there you have it. Those are our top 10 favorite Mayfair games of all time. So please let us know in the comments down below, what are your favorite Mayfair games of all time? Go ahead and list them all, or just a few if you prefer. And if you enjoyed this top 10 list and you'd like to see us do more top 10 lists like this, be sure to give this video a like, share this video on all social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on!